What? No, no way. Come on, you guys. Huh? Oh, hey! Before we get into the first impression, be sure to play and download the Compass Star. Also give it a rating. Now, on to the first impression. Now, what were you saying? So now we're moving on to the Forged page, which is by Lotrain, I believe. There's a Russian version. I believe they aren't English native. Here you can actually see that they did translate it last night before the deadline. That's always a thing about these kind of competitions. Sometimes you just get like the last bit of it right before you have to enter the game. Congrats for getting the game in there anyway though. So without further ado, let's just jump into it because there's not much to actually talk about. I have a few suggestions for you near the end of the video, so hopefully you stick around for that. Okay, so here's our menu page right now. This is the Forged page. You have a character looking out into the starry sky. It's very nice, very cool. I believe I had some saves. I did, around 33 minutes. So I played a bit of it. Hopefully that didn't spoil too much, but realistically, we're actually not going to go through the whole game because it's all story. Now, I'll just go through a bit of it, point out some things I noticed, and then we'll move on from there. So here we start with a character. Her name isn't shown yet. We have the average RPG Maker sprite sets. A bit curious. I'm gonna ask like who made your original art, like the title art. Could they not make other icons and art for you? I'm just curious. And so she has this he's not little, he's an old man. She has a relationship with this librarian guy, Sir Sergius. I hope that's how you say it. And her name is Eltida. She's a little girl fascinated by books. She loves reading them. Now, something I never really mentioned prior to like the other two videos is how many people actually hit the theme of the game, Touch the Stars. This one actually, I just skipped it. I'll show you real quick. Maybe you'll see it. And I'm skimming through the story pretty fast because again, this is all story. And I feel like it wouldn't be nice for me. Okay, here we go. Because these videos are mainly for criticism, so it wouldn't be nice of me to like do the whole story. That way no one else would really want to play the game. I want you guys to play it too. So here you see, and it seems that they are not that far away. And it gets cut off. Now, in the RPG Maker engine, there's a little line there in the text box that shows you when text is about to be cut off. I always do like maybe 4 to 5 spaces before that cutoff, unless like I really am cramming stuff in there, and just make sure that I just enter or go to the next line for the next piece of dialogue. And that's just throughout the game. A lot of it is throughout the game. Now, again, it might be a translation thing where you translated the words. Like in Russian, this might be very eloquent. In English, it obviously looks really different. Again, I know it was a rush job. You did it over a night, but still, it's just something you have to keep an eye out for. Because, I mean, it's like, it's throughout the whole game. So, just be aware when doing that. Like, always just make it part of the process. And here we go. I like to read books. This is my only way to somehow touch these stars. The last 2 games I played, I don't know how often they mentioned something about stars. I don't ever think Fluffhouse mentioned anything about a star. I don't remember. Maybe not really, but at least this way, you are an amazing person, Eltida. So, you know, she's a starry-eyed little girl who wants to embrace books and most likely do good. And here we go again, because you're an and most like amazing person, you know, the average person is just going to look at this and think negatively. Obviously, I'm looking at it and I've already read through this too, and I can fill in the spaces, but most people, they see this like 2 to 3 times, they're like, oh, okay. So if you're finishing the game, if you're going to finish this game, just make sure you check these out, or better yet, just get someone else to do it. I think it's always better just to get someone else to do your work. And so this whole cutscene itself is truly a character moment, which is something I'm always pushing for, especially for RPG Maker games. Don't fill your intro with a bunch of lore and a bunch of setup or this long flashback where the characters aren't saying anything personal to themselves. It's very important to have that. And so here, I didn't even mention this, but you have these custom text boxes, which look pretty cool, by the way. I'm sure this is a work of a plugin, because I can't imagine making this kind of text box in in the editor and then putting it in there and then looking this nice. But now this is a general problem. I've been playing this cutscene for a good minute now, and it's gone on too long. You need to take the approach of less is more. Characters saying something, especially her as a child, even if she is very, very book smart, or maybe there's a different word to use, but I think she would be able to say things more natural, like a child would. I work with children, so I know how children speak, and I hear her and I'm looking at her talk, and she doesn't really talk like a child. Even like smart kids. I've met tons of smart children. Kids are only getting smarter now, but she doesn't really come off as a child. And like, tomorrow morning my father goes hunting with his people in the forest. I think a kid would be saying, so, tomorrow daddy, or maybe she would say my father, right? Tomorrow the father's going hunting, and mom is busy with, political stuff, or she's busy with work, right? Very rarely would I see a child say the word political. Even if they can read it, I don't think they would say it. And so Eltira here is trying to leave the castle. She just wants to, go around and have some fun. She's a cramped up princess. And so now, just like I said in the other game, like, I'm sorry I'm kind of picking apart the intro, but it's really just is that long without too many more dynamic things happening. Here, this is important text, and we're getting to know what her next objective is, or what the next part of the story is going to be about. And I'm always going to push this colored text, something to point out what the player needs to do. Because when a player ends up doing this, I'll know, like over there he said, get ready for your adventure or something like that. Like, if that's in color, I'll see it and I'll make sure to do it. Okay, so now we have full control. This one also has the little dashing sprites, so when you're not running, they do this. The FPS is really low right now, I don't know why. And then it's time to go down. Let's go ahead down. And there's so very few moments where you get to control the character, which I think is very detrimental to you, because you don't have a very strong presentation right now, and you have so much cutscene. While it's okay, I think it's okay, it doesn't serve the characters too well. You need something to break that up, like her doing something, maybe in the middle of that intro cutscene. Oh, I forgot his name, Sergius. He can say, oh, why don't you go find me this X and Y book? And then he's like, and these these bookshelves right here are listed A, B, C, D. And he's like, why don't you find me the Dark Days? And so you go to the D one, and it's a little puzzle, it's a little logic thing that you can use. And like, for a child, it makes sense. So here we have a servant coming to say something, and she pretty much gives foreboding information that Sergius, the librarian we just talked to, the girl that Eltira looks up to, is maybe plotting something. But here, this just doesn't serve your story at all, because while the audience may know this, I feel like it's not necessary for us to know it. And the twist of Sergius being evil should come way, way later. We don't truly understand her relationship with Sergius yet, so it's like, I'll be more careful with him. I'll be more careful with Sergius. Just say I'll be more careful, or I'll be cautious, And then, why didn't you tell my parents about this, or the guards? I think that makes the most logical sense. She would probably just say this right away. I don't believe you. Like, these two make the most sense, right? I don't believe you. I don't believe that Sir Sergius is capable of bad things, which I'll say here. Got cut off again. I do like how you gave the character a new model right here, where they're wearing a new jacket. I always like that kind of stuff when characters change clothing, or it fits their situation. I always like that. So here we have a cutscene. It's decent. It's nice. You got your little cart, and it has its own animations, and you're going through. She's stowing away on here so she can have her time in the town. Here's another thing, by the way. So you're using the regular RPG Maker character generator. For those who don't know, RPG Maker has a character generator where you can generate character faces and stuff like that, and alongside the sprites. So it's been throughout, like every character we've met until now, has that character generator. So either don't give him a bust at all. That way he doesn't clash. Like with this is obviously pre-drawn art, so you don't want this character sitting around with regular RPG Maker characters like so, because they clash. They look too different, and that's generally an issue. Here we meet the twins, Remus and what was the other one's name? Sophia. Remus and Sophia. And I thought from here we would be like a weird little kid party and we would do some like adventures, but it doesn't end up that way. And you can see more text is getting cut off. And these kids talk way too much about like the politics of their world. Again, children just don't talk like this. Even if they're really self-sustained, you know, kids will still be kids at some certain point in time before they really grow up and start talking like this. I'm sure the king will solve this problem, but so far due to this situation, prices food several times more than before. Again, it's just hard to believe a child will talk like this. Our main character is like 10 years old or something like that, and these guys are probably around the same age. I don't actually remember how old they are, but again, it just comes off like a little hard to believe. And our main character is kind of astonished by seeing twins. They look so similar. He will recognize me. So last time I played, I chose Elsa a fake name. I'm gonna call myself my real name, just like the princess. Why are you excited, brother? I thought, as you thought about the princess. Nothing. It didn't live up. Just a spur of the name. Anyway, it's a little bit of different dialogue when you tell them your name is Eltila instead of like Elsa or something like that. And so from here, you join the twins, and I guess hang out with them for a little while. Yeah, right here. Because of the exorbitantly rising prices, whatever. Especially for food, like again, exorbitantly, it just wouldn't really come out of a kid's mouth. Now, this might be just like a translation thing from Russian, but make them speak like Russian children too. That way, it kind of just fits the translation too. And so here we go again with the mismatching character art. Just go with one or the other. But I mean, I have a better idea. I'll save it to the end of the video. So you can choose to give the kids some money. I'm going to give them all of it. Last time I gave them half of it. So let me see what their reaction is when I say I'll give you 100. So it's pretty much the same. And Remus here proposes, let's play hide and seek. And if I successfully find them, then they'll accept the money. And another thing, when you're talking to characters right here, like this guy in front of the stall, you can't talk to him in front of the stall. Just set an event right there. And what you can do is just simply copy his event text or whatever, anything in the event log, and put it right there in front of him. You know, because most people's reaction to talking to a person, a vendor, is to talk to them over the counter, not talk to them to the side. Same applies with this guy. You run over here, you should talk to him right here. And it's not a particularly hard thing to do. You see, like, all of these characters here have these really good custom art. And they're most likely part of like a pack. I'm sure I've seen them before. Apologies, the air conditioning just cut on, so it might be a little loud. And when we go here, we're going to save. By the way, this is in Russian. So we can talk to this old lady, right? And we're supposed to talk to people because we're supposed to wait for the kids to go hide. Here, young lady, do you need something? I'm just walking, I'm just passing by. I don't think either of these really matter. Yes, I'm just passing by. I understand. Good luck to you. Have a nice day. Okay, never mind then. So, can I actually go find them now? No, it's too early. They must be... Okay. So, you have to talk to this old lady. And the problem is, this old lady dumps a ton of text on you. What are you doing here? Just watch. Look how long that took. That took a long amount of time in order to get through all of that. And once again, you can't talk to her. at all. Just don't add her if you can't. You got some characters here. You cannot walk in the middle of them, so there might be something there that's blocking them. You can talk to her. You can talk to her. And you can talk to him. So the goal is to find the kids. It's not particularly hard. Oh, sorry. It's not this way. It's this way right here. Gotcha, and we find the kid. So now the brother has joined our group, and he's not in the menu because I forgot we don't have anything there. So another thing, you have random encounters, but there's no battles at all in this game. Are there going to be battles? And if there will be battles, they should, I think, be introduced like within 20 minutes of gameplay, like within the first 20 minutes. And so we found both the siblings, and now they'll accept the money from me. So these characters walk really slow to this point. I would make them actually enter from this side. If not, have them walk, do a fade out event, make them jump to right here, fade in with their text. And so here they come out and say, your father is dead. I think I'll stop right after the next point because it kind of gets a bit, I don't know, maybe not. And so then we have a massive time skip. 8 years later is a massive time skip. If we really were supposed to play like her as an adult, I can only imagine that you should have cut that beginning section really short. And so now we have the queen here. Because the king is dead, she's had to take on the work of the king. So she's being burdened by the responsibility laid on her. And Eltira here is a little bit older now. She's a dignified princess. But again, that 8-year time jump, because it was so long, or you spend so much time as a child, and it really doesn't build anything, because she doesn't build any memories with Remus or Sophia outside of the hide and seek. And for most players, I don't think they're going to connect with that. I think you should cut it short. Or, again, I have a lot more advice till we finish the game. Last time I said establish relations with neighboring kingdom. Let's try reducing. Okay, so it's a little bit different, but I think your choices also need to have more weight to them. Like this choice, I think, is like the biggest one of all time. I mean, regardless, the mother is going to get upset at her daughter. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna save. I think that's actually just a fine place to stop. I've played through the whole game, and you know what? There is one thing I want to show you. So after a little bit more of gameplay, you cut to this moment right here, where you're the princess Eltira, and she's talking to this random person, a name we don't know, and this is just how it ends. Like, we have no context to this at all. And they say, let's go. Error, save file not found. Well, great. But you know what? That's actually a pretty good place to stop. Overall, there's literally too much story. And I remember reading in one of your replies, sort of like this reply right here. I came with a hide and seek to let the players play themselves because it's a game and there's a lot of cutscenes and the dialogue doesn't let the player do anything. Remember that player input is always very important, and what I mean by that is that when the player is able to do something for themselves, and that you didn't position your game to be a full-fledged RPG. Now, in my opinion, I think you should go with Rempi. If you don't know what Rempi is, I'll show you. Rempi is a free visual novel tool where you can make visual novels. If your goal is just to tell the story and that you have no way of actually creating gameplay, then go with Rempi. And with Rempi, you can see even Doki Doki Literature Club was made on Rempi. And Rempi is available for just about anything. So you can make Android games, HTML games, maybe Linux, Windows, Mac, iOS, everything. You can do this with Rempi. And then you have to then take the chance of, or not the chance, the challenge of making custom assets. Because the use of the regular RPG Maker stuff
won't win anyone over. I feel in today's standard that the RPG engine, like the stuff that is used in engine to make character sprites and faces, is outdated and it won't accomplish anything. Custom assets is really where you should go. Again, you don't have to be good at drawing, but in my case, I'm going to suggest you something even better. This is VRRoid. VRRoid are 3D models, and you can download VRRoid for free. It takes a little bit of effort learning how to do it, but you can create stunning models. And then through things like Clip Studio Paint, or there's a free one called, Krita, and GIMP and all types of stuff, you can then turn those 3D models into 2D pictures. Now you have character art and assets for your game for free. So I would just say do that instead. If you want to throw your story at me, feel free to do so. I think your story needs a lot of fine tuning. Your children's dialogue needs a lot of work. While they might play hide and seek with each other, they don't still feel like kids just because it did one kid thing. Whoever you got to do your page art, I think you should just ask them to do the art too if they're willing, and it's going to cost a bit of money. But at the end of the day, if you want to make a game, you're going to have to spend a bit of money. This is something I learned from my current ongoing project, Phantom Punk. If I really wanted to take it seriously, I need to spend a bit of money. Like, it needs to be an actual endeavor. While this game I don't think would win any like RPG categories, I think that as a visual novel, again, look into Rimpy. It could probably do way better, especially with like your changing of tones. Now I think your story has a lot that you can work with here. Their starting point should probably be a little bit different, and I played I think a good amount that people won't get like the full story of it. So hopefully you take this feedback pretty well. I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that. There's just a lot of work that needs to be done. And again, feel free to reach out to me. Of course, my socials are down below. And really, that's about it. So again, if you haven't played the Compass Star yet, go check it out. Give it a rating. Don't forget to do that as well. We're dropping down. I was in 3rd place yesterday or the day before, and now I'm in 5th place. Oh my god. But you see, I was in 3rd place a few days ago, and now we're in 5th place. Please rate the game. Thank you, and bye.